from the kitchen today. I'm not allowed to go anywhere cool to film, so we're stuck in the kitchen. So today's video is a bit of an update, and it's just about how everything that's going on in the world at the moment is affecting our sport, and in particularly how it's really screwed up my schedule for the next wee while. And you know, I certainly know that I'm not the only one affected by this, but this is just a short vlog about me and everything that sort of changed over the last little while, just since coronavirus has reared its ugly head. So if you don't know, I'm a triathlete. I swim, and in between that I work for myself and have my own business doing marketing for other businesses. So I don't really know where to start off, but in September last year I had surgery on my left knee to try and sort out a nerve issue that had been giving me grief for over a year at the time. I went through heaps of different specialists and different people, and I lost track of how many different diagnoses I got and how many different types of treatment I got that did nothing, and ultimately ended up in front of a surgeon and went through with a procedure which was supposed to help and supposed to sort it out. Pretty quickly after the operation, it was quite clear that it hadn't worked, and although it had made a small difference, it hadn't made it better. And you know, where it was an issue was when I was riding my bike really hard or running really fast, you know, race intensity. So the time it was rearing its head the most was during a race, and that meant that no matter how much I trained, no matter how prepared I was for a race, when push came to shove, I was in pain and I had to slow down. And that became a massive issue in December of last year. I competed in the 70.3 half Ironman in Taupo. My goal for that race was to finish high enough up the results to get myself a qualification spot for 70.3 World Championships, which this year, 2020, are being held in New Zealand, in Taupo. So my big goal for the season was to qualify for that event, and then this year to be able to race, you know, in front of a home crowd at World Championships. Yeah, I knew going into that race that my knee wasn't perfect, and you know, unfortunately, again, just slowed me down. And although I had a pretty good first half of the bike, I found myself soft pedaling quite a lot in the second half, and unfortunately had to slow down and actually walk some of the run during the half marathon at the end of it. So yeah, I was devastated, in all honesty. That was my target race for the year, and here I was on the course walking. Probably one of the worst races I've ever had. After that race, I sat down with my coach and evaluated what had happened and tried to reevaluate the rest of the season, and it was still salvageable. There was sprint distance nationals coming up, which were actually on the weekend just gone, or supposed to be on the weekend just gone. Again, that's another event that got cancelled. And so we geared the whole second half of my season towards that event with the goal of picking up a qualifying spot to go to the ITU World Champs later this year. I was really happy with that plan, and my knee was sort of able to tolerate shorter efforts. And it still hurts at high intensity, but it was the long duration, you know, like Ironman 70.3, that was really causing me grief. So I thought, yep, let's refocus for Sprint National Champs, and hopefully have a good race, and fingers crossed pick up a qualification spot. Fast forward to maybe 3 weeks ago, and got the email that, to be honest, at the time we were all expecting, saying that the race had been cancelled due to coronavirus, and the race was doubling as an ITU event, and ITU, which is the governing body of triathlon, had already cancelled a whole heap of events, including that one. So it was pretty obvious that was going to be canned as well. So in the background, while I was still training and getting ready for nationals, I was meeting regularly with my surgeon formulating a plan to get my knee sorted once and for all. And we'd finally got to a point where we'd done some testing, and I'd gone along to see him and taken my bike and running gear, and we'd done some tests, and I'd gone and trained to see if we could pinpoint the pain, and we'd got there and I believe formulated the right plan to sort things out once and for all. And so once Nationals got cancelled, I got in touch and said, can we do the surgery now? I don't have to wait until after Nationals. Let's get it done, and then I can get straight into the recovery, because I knew there'd be probably 4 weeks where I can't do anything too intense and definitely can't go in the water. And so I thought now's a great time, and then that'll leave me a heap of time to train to get ready for the coming season. So we managed to lock in a date, which was supposed to be last week. And then at the very last minute, the day before the surgery was supposed to happen, New Zealand went into lockdown. We all had to stay home. And of course, the operation got cancelled. I don't disagree with any of that. It's the right course of action, and cancelling my surgery was so that the hospital would be free to be used in the instance that this outbreak really becomes big. So I think that's the right decision, and although no one wants this outbreak to be huge, it's good that we as a country and our health system are prepared for that. Fast forward to this morning, I got an email saying that I've qualified for 2 events at World Champs. I already knew that I'd qualified for standard distance triathlon. The qualification race was in October or November last year, and it was my first race back after surgery, and I went better than I expected and managed to pick up a qualifying spot. I didn't know how qualifying was going to get dished out for the sprint race, which is what we were supposed to be racing in on the weekend just gone, but I got given a spot. Maybe it's because I've been twice before, maybe it's because I'd already qualified for standard distance. I don't know. Unfortunately, attached to that email was almost a price list. And I don't know, that's just the best way to describe it. And when I started going through the numbers and working out how much this was going to cost, started to realise pretty quickly that this wasn't going to happen. World Champs is in Canada, which from down here in New Zealand is a very long way, and it's also a very expensive flight. And then ITU racing has a very high price tag. It is a world-class event, which in turn has a world-class entry fee, but then there's obviously a whole lot of costs associated with Triathlon New Zealand and the admin they have to do, the uniform we have to buy, the insurance we have to have as athletes, then our costs to get there, to stay there, to... Very quickly I started to realise that this isn't going to happen. Full disclosure, I got asked by a friend a little while ago how much money I make as a triathlete. The answer is nothing. I've never been paid at any race I've ever done, ever. Just do it for love. I have to work when I'm not training to pay the bills. So in all honesty, I'm devastated about not going to World Champs. It wasn't an easy call to make, but it's the only call to make. And not just for financial reasons. I don't know when I'm going to be able to have surgery. We're currently on a 4-week lockdown. I hope it is only a 4-week lockdown. And then once that's over and things begin to return to normal, then I expect I'll be able to reschedule my surgery. I don't know how many people are scheduled ahead of me or will be scheduled ahead of me, but that pushes my recovery up by however long lockdown goes for. So at absolute minimum, I've got another 3 weeks of lockdown, maybe 2 or 3 weeks to wait for a surgery date. Then my recovery starts, and that'll push us out to maybe June, and then World Champs is in August. I definitely wouldn't be ready for that, and at the same time I wouldn't want to not have the surgery so that I could be ready, because I know that I can't compete at my best without the surgery. There's a lot of back and forth here, isn't there? And that sort of leads me on to my next point, which is around my racing future, or my future in the sport of triathlon. As I've progressed and gained more experience, I've started to do longer races, and I have found that I really enjoy the 70.3 distance. So that's a half Ironman, which is a 1.9 kilometer swim, a 90k bike, and then a 21.1 kilometer run, or a half marathon at the end. And all those events are put on by Ironman worldwide, and there are so many of them. And there is always events on worldwide, sometimes more than one on the same weekend. The good thing about competing in the Ironman events is you pay your entry fee to Ironman, you turn up and you race. There's no additional charges like admin fees to your national federation. You don't have to have an expensive uniform. You can turn up and race in whatever gear you have. And when I started doing the numbers to work out how much it was going to cost to go to World Champs in Canada, at the same time I was looking at some 70.3 events I wanted to do in various countries. And without a word of a lie, I could pick 2 70.3s in 2 different countries and fly and stay and do those events for cheaper than going and doing the World Championship race in Canada. And that's not always going to be the case. I raced in World Champs on the Gold Coast 2 years ago, which was much cheaper because it's a tiny short flight across the ditch. When I think about value for money and races I do and races I enjoy, the 70.3 side of things is a much more exciting prospect and a much more affordable prospect. And as much as I enjoy short course racing, as I get older, I'm getting slower. So maybe I'm going to be more suited to 70.3s anyway. Who knows? Once this is over, once I've had my knee fixed for good and confirmed that it's good, then I'll start doing some more 70.3s and really see how that goes and feel that out well. So I don't know if I'm making the right decision race-wise, but that's my feelings on it at the moment. There's so many races I want to do, and there's also so many countries I want to travel to, and if I can combine the two, that's awesome. Personally, for me, Canada isn't very high up my list of countries I have a strong desire to travel to. So although World Champs is there, which is something I love, an event I love competing in and an incredible experience, I think the fact that it's not in a country that I really, really want to go to is probably one of the reasons I'm not jumping at the chance and saying, here, take my money. I guess all going well, we'll be out of lockdown in 3 weeks. I'll get surgery really quickly and my knee will be fixed, have a good recovery, get back into training, and then who knows what events are on the cards. There's some awesome looking 70.3s, even just in the Oceania region, that I would love to do. And then if we want to travel further afield, there's plenty of events up there as well. So that's it. I hope you like the video. I hope you're enjoying the vlogs, and I hope you've had the chance to watch a few of them. If you are enjoying it, it would mean the world if you would subscribe. That helps the channel out a lot, and maybe if I get enough subscribers, I can make some money out of this thing, and that'll help pay for triathlons. Leave a like if you like the video, and feel free to leave comments too. I had some really cool suggestions on Instagram of some vlog ideas that I'm working on. If there's anything you want to see, leave a comment or get in touch on Instagram and we'll make it happen. In the meantime, stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.